Wonderful. So what are custom elements? That's what we've just run through. And the slide I was just talking about, lovely. So what can you do with custom elements? So it's the upsells, it's data collection, it's 3D tours, and it's your Spotify playlist. So we're going to jump in now to each of these and show you what it's all about. Lovely. Let's go. So first, we're going to look at jot forms and how you can upsell with jot forms. So it can be tricky to know how and when to be upselling to your guests. And you want to make it feel very natural and very friendly and part of the guest journey. You don't want to bombard guests with too many choices or make it kind of an aggressive sell. You want to make sure that it's easy to surface really great offers and products to your guests so that they can start planning their trip, get excited, and start building that ramp up to their trip with you. So, and you might also be new to upselling and not know where to start. And equally, you might not want to invest too much time or too much resource in something that's brand new to your business. So this is a great entryway into upselling in general. There's very little risk to this. You can just get it started, give it a go, and see how it works. So adding a jot form upsell into your guidebook is like being able to offer your guests a little concierge in their pocket and offer them whatever you would like to in a very simple way. So you can do this with physical products. So guests who have a great time might want souvenirs from their trip. So you can offer them local products to buy through your guidebook, or even your own branded items to keep the memory of their holiday alive, and let them take a little piece of their home with you. The example that we have on the page here, this is from Tyann, a lovely member of our team, and her Branson family retreats. And you can see that she offers a range of things here, so people can take a little piece of their home back with them. In Tyann's example, she also offers something else that you can do, which is offering different services. So whether that's booking a private chef for the night, or a massage, or ordering breakfast, or something like a local excursion, like a bike trip or a bike rental, a boat trip. There we go, boat trip or a bike rental, or maybe visiting something like a local winery or a local craft beer place that is in your area that people would love to be able to book in to go to. So it's a really simple way to give guests a seamless way to book everything they want to do without leaving your guidebook, without losing sight of your brand, and having to leave that nice experience that you created through your guidebook and go somewhere else. One of the good things about Jotform as well is that they have 38 different payment gateways. So whether it's PayPal, Apple Pay, Stripe, whatever you're using, there's 38 different options that you can use to manage your payments. And no matter which payment gateway a guest might use, all of those payments would flow into one business account. So you're not stuck reconciling lots of different payments in lots of different places. It really keeps it simple. So again, if you're thinking, I'd love to do upsells, but I really don't know where to start, this is a really nice entryway into it. And of course, anything you can do to increase your booking revenue whilst still showing off your hospitality and keeping it super slick for your guests can only be a good thing. You'll see there's a QR code on the slide here. If you scan that, it will take you into the example that's shown on the page as well. So you can have a look and play around with this yourself and put yourself into the guest's shoes and see what that might feel like. This will be shared with you all as well, remember, so don't worry about scrabbling to scan the QR code now. I'm going to jump to the next slide, but you will be able to look at this yourselves later as you wish. Lovely. So moving on to the next use case, which is data collection. And this one is really focusing on Google Forms and Zoho Forms. So a lot of our customers want to collect information about their guests. All of this can be essential to the day-to-day running of their business. This could be anything from guest rental agreements, car registration for a shared car park, or even collecting something as simple as tea and coffee preferences, because you want to make sure that guests have got their favorite cuppa when they arrive, and another nice way of showing off your hospitality. So often if you ask for this information over email, you risk emails going into spam, or as is becoming the case a lot of the time, you don't necessarily have the guest's email address yet, or you only have the main guest, you don't have everyone else in their party. So this can be a nice way of getting this information in front of guests and not leaving it languishing in an email somewhere. So using a form in your guidebook is a much slicker and friendlier way to gather this key information. The good thing about Google Forms and Zoho Forms is there are thousands of form templates out there that you can choose from to use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, and that goes the same for Jotform as well. There's so many templates out there that already exist. You can just do a quick Google or go to Zoho Forms or Google Forms and start playing around with the existing templates that are there. And the good thing about these tools as well, just like your Touch Day guidebook, they are brandable. So you can add your own logo and your branded colors and really make it more about you, and link that through to your guidebook as well. So the guests always see one really nice 360 view of you and your business. So you can use the QR code here. This will take you through to a really cool example from a very special customer that we have, called Freelance Villas. This example is actually a jot form, and I've popped it on here, but you can do the same thing with Google or Zoho. But this one's such a nice example, I wanted it to show it to you. So Freelance Villas are able to offer guests speedy check-in from within their guidebook, and they're doing this with a custom element form. So with it, if you give it a scan now, and you can go through this while I'm talking about it. So Freelance Villas are able to let guests know about this once they've made their booking through their guest communication flow. And because they have a Touch Day guidebook, they can even send a deep link to this section of the guidebook through an email or an SMS message, either through Touch Day or through the PMS that they're working with. So it's super slick and saves so much time at check-in, especially during peak season. So this is a really useful, practical way to see how one of these custom elements can help you save some time, gather that really important information from your guests whilst giving guests a nice added benefit or an extra great reason to enjoy their trip with you. Lovely. So I'm going to move on now to 3D tours with Matterport. So this one's really, really fun. I didn't know about Matterport until we started building custom elements, and it's been so much fun to explore. So, you know, if you're thinking whether you've got guests that book 1 year in advance or 1 day in advance, you really want to help build excitement and get them excited for their stay so they have the best time. And it can be difficult to get guests to really engage in your business, engage with your property before, you know, between that booking and before arrival. Like, especially if someone's booked maybe 6 months to a year in advance, that's a lot of time to lose that energy. And so this is a really great way of, especially if you have that long booking window, keeping some momentum and inspiring your guests before they've even stepped through the door. This is also a really great tool because for guests with accessibility needs, it can give peace of mind. It can let them know how to navigate your property before having to ask you questions or ask for more detailed videos or you know, photos, so they can understand how they're going to access the property and how it accommodates for their needs. So that's a really interesting use case for this as well. And also with Matterport, if you've got a large group of guests coming, if you have a larger property, there's always that rush when you arrive. Which room am I going to run up to and claim? So this is quite a nice way of sending this in advance through your guidebook to that larger guest party, so that they can say, well, I want that room on the 3rd floor, or I want this room because it's in the back and it's quiet. So it gives a bit of a stress-free time for your guests to plan ahead, think about what they're going to do when they arrive, and there's no rock, paper, scissors deciding who gets which room. So this is a really cool Matterport example from a customer who very recently put this into their guidebook, and they shared it with us, and we had to share it with you today. So this customer, they haven't just put a 3D tour into their guidebook, they've gone a little step further with functionality that Matterport offers, which is where you can add clickable points throughout the tour. So as the guest is weaving around, looking at the inside, the outside, going into the different rooms, they can just click on one of these points and learn something interesting or useful about the property. So the 3 examples here that I wanted to share that are on the right. The one on the top one, it's showing a photo from 1903 that points to the aviation history and the story of the property. So what a lovely way, the minute before even someone has come to your property, they're really steeping themselves in the history and some of the storytelling behind the place they're going to stay, which I think is just lovely. And then the middle one is highlighting a collection of board games that guests are free to use. So that's lovely to know that, oh, I don't have to bring my pack of cards. Oh, look, they've got Cards Against Humanity or Scrabble. It's a nice way to show that, you know, kids are welcome, or adults that love to play games are welcome, and they're free for you to use. And then the last one, which is a super interesting use case, which we talk about a lot, is the hot tub. No one ever knows how to use a hot tub because every hot tub is different and it can be a bit complicated. So this one, it just shows you really easily that once you arrive, set the temperature and turn it on. And by the next day, it'll be warm enough for you. So imagine if the guest arrives, they don't know this, and they have to wait another day to use the hot tub. The minute someone's in your guide, they can see this, and you can surface that really important information to them in a very visual, easy to navigate way, which is just, if I was a guest, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I would want to be having when I'm building up that excitement for my trip. Super. So that's Matterport. It's such a fun one. And then probably my favorite, the most fun custom element. And it is my favorite because I'm a huge music fan and I definitely listen to too much Taylor Swift. And yes, there will be a Taylor Swift example I'm going to show you shortly. But the example on the screen here is from my Barcelona city guidebook. I created this guidebook because I have lots of friends coming to visit me in Barcelona, or friends of friends, and I get a little bit annoyed being asked so many questions. Where should I go? Which bar? Which hotels? Which restaurants? And so I've created this guidebook, and now I just send the link to everyone, and it's worked. No one asks me questions anymore. They just say, I love your guidebook, which is super nice. But of course, being me, I dropped a Taylor Swift playlist in the welcome section of my guidebook. So these playlists, they're not just about Taylor Swift, I promise. They're a really quick way to add some of your personality into your guidebook and help guests get excited about the trip and, more importantly, engaged with your guidebook content. You've spent a lot of time thinking about what you want guests to see when they're, before they're even stepping through the door. You're already building that relationship with them and showing off something special about your properties. And you've written a lot of very important content, and you really want guests to engage with that content. So offering them something fun like a playlist is a really useful way of encouraging them into your guidebook and encouraging them to explore. So all of that really important content that you've created, it gives you even more of an opportunity to surface that to your guests and cut down on those guest questions, which is what I know you're all here for ultimately. A really good example is if you have a driving playlist. Guests are probably going to look at that pre-arrival because they want to listen to it on the drive down. And you can send them a link to this either through an email or an SMS or through your PMS. And this just gets them like, oh, cool, there's a driving playlist because we've got an hour or two's drive to go through. What else is in this guidebook? That's a really nice, easy way to get people involved. Another thing you can also do with this is you could you could share a playlist from a local artist or an act that is coming to town during that season of the guest stay. This shows off your local expertise, and really it's something that you're not going to get from kind of a faceless rental or kind of, a hotel. It's a really personable way of interacting with guests, and it takes a couple of minutes for you to do. It's super easy. And now I've said that, I'm going to give you a little demo. So we might have some technical difficulties, but hopefully not. So I'm going to just exit out of this, and I'm going to share another screen with you. And we're going to go directly into Touch Day. One little moment while I get this set up. Oh, no, that didn't work. Hold on. I shouldn't be allowed to do this, should I? Okay, lovely. So I'm just going to double check with Alice, but yeah, I'm pretty confident you can all see my screen. Lovely. So, or can you? I think so. I'm just waiting for Alice to confirm. She's typing. Yes, all good. Wonderful. So here I am in Content Hub. And hopefully a lot of you are familiar with this view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to drop a Spotify playlist into your guidebook. So I'm going to use the example of the Taylor Swift one, because why would I not use any opportunity to talk about my favorite? So I'm going to click into the welcome category here. I have 5 different guidebooks in my account for lots of different things. So if you see all this, and I also use this for demoing and lots of other things as well, playing around with our product. So if this looks a bit scary, don't worry. This is just my account. So I'm going to go into the welcome subcategory and click the down arrow here. And I'm going to add another topic to the welcome category. So I click here and I'm going to your own topic. Lovely. And I'm going to call this my Barcelona playlist. Lovely. And then you don't have, the good thing with custom elements is you don't have to write any text here. You can simply drop in the form. It's entirely up to you. But because this is in the welcome category and just having a random Taylor Swift playlist, although it makes sense to me, might not make sense to people who are opening up my guide. So if you want to add a bit of context and say something to your guests, you can type in here as you would with any regular topic. So I'm just going to paste in here a little bit with some Taylor Swift lyrics. And then I'm going to just do a little space there. And now I'm going to show you how to add the custom element. So there it is in the menu. I click custom element. And this is the insert custom element menu. Now, if you've created lots of custom elements already, they'll show here in the drop down. But because this is a brand new one, I'm going to choose add new element. And this opens up the add new custom element window. Lovely. So as I've said, I'm going to add a Spotify playlist. So I click third-party service here and I go down to Spotify. Oh, yep, there we go. And then an element code name is automatically created for me. And this says Spotify playlist. So I'm going to adjust this name and just put Taylor Swift so I know which playlist this is referring to in the past, because hopefully once you've fallen in love with custom elements, you'll want to add lots of them, and just giving them a name helps you more easily identify which is which. Lovely. So now I need the playlist link in Spotify. So I'm going to pop over into Spotify. And here's my playlist. And I click on the three little dots here and I go to the share option and it's copy link to playlist. It's not the embed playlist option. It's just copy link to playlist. So I'm going to click that. And then I go back into TouchStay and I just simply paste that link in here. And that's it. And then at the bottom here, this is the standard element height. So this is the height that the custom element will be shown at in your guide. So you can come back here anytime and adjust this, but a standard is set for you to make it easy. So if I want this to be a bit shorter, or if I want it to be taller in the topic that it's in, I can adjust that here. But for now, let's go with the standard. And I'm going to click save. And it has successfully created. Phew. I can see that my playlist is now showing here in the element code name, and I click insert. Fab. And now you can see, oh, Emma, this looks a bit rubbish. What is this? This is just a regular field code. Don't worry. That's just how it looks for now. So that's all done. So now I'm going to scroll down here, and in my new topic, I want this to show in my Barcelona guide. So I choose the Barcelona tag and I click submit. And that's created. But now we want to see what it looks like for the guest view. So if I go into preview guides and I choose my Welcome to Barcelona guidebook, you can see here the guest view. Lovely. So this is what it looks like on desktop. And maybe you're not all used to seeing it on desktop. You're used to more seeing it on your phone. But this is how it looks on a nice big screen. So I'm going to click Get Started. And then the Welcome to Barcelona topic is already open, or the category is already open. One of the things you can do with your subcategories and topics is leave them to expanded or closed. It's really nice to have some of them expanded because it reduces the number of clicks guests have to make to see your content. And landing here, ooh, they're all expanded. Landing here, I wouldn't necessarily want to see this when it's the first thing that I'm landing at in the guide. I want to see, look at this lovely image. Oh, look at this text. How exciting! It's a nice little neat micro feature that we have. And if you have questions on that, go to our knowledge base and learn how to do it. But let's focus back on the playlist. So here we have my Barcelona playlist, and this is what it looks like. So the text I put in is here, and the playlist is here. And if you'll all forgive me, I don't know if you can hear it through my headphones, but all you have to do is click play, and the guest doesn't have to go through into Spotify. The music plays from your guidebook, which I think is really nifty. Super. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to jump back into the presentation to see how we're getting on. Lovely. Gosh, where are we even going back to? There's so many screens. Lovely. Okay. So many buttons to click. I swear I need a technical assistant. I'll have to get Alice on the case properly for next time. Ooh. Bear with me a little second. Oh, that is not playing ball. Okay, lovely. Okay, good. And let me just make sure that you can all see it again. We don't want another snafu. Lovely, and here it is. Fab. Great. So I'll skip back to where we were, which was our Spotify demo. So hopefully now you've seen how it's done and you can see that it's super easy. And that's it. It's just every custom element you want to add, that's the process. You have to make sure, of course, that the custom element has been created. So you've created your Zoho form, you've created your Matterport 3D tour, or you've created your Spotify playlist, or found a playlist from someone else that you'd like to add in. And then all you have to do is, as I've shown you, create that custom element in TouchStay. It's really, really simple. So no integrations, no complex coding. It's just dropping in a little field code. It's nice and easy. So now it's time for the Q&A. There's lots of questions in the chat box, which is wonderful. So I'm going to pop in there now and answer as many questions as I can. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So let's see. So someone has asked, and this is from Michelle. Hope you don't mind me outing you, Michelle, as having asked a question. Is there any difference to embedding a simple form in Dropform custom elements to adding the online store custom element, or is it the same process? So I think what you're asking is whether you have a simple Dropform or one that has a payment gateway or lots of other more complicated aspects. Is it the same way you embed that custom element or embed that Dropform in TouchStay? Yes. It doesn't matter what type of Dropform you have, whether it's all singing, all dancing, or whether it's a very simple couple of questions. It's exactly the same process. So you don't have to worry about, oh, how do I add the payment gateway? How do I add these elements? It's all exactly the same. Super. Another question. Do we have any other playlist providers other than Spotify? We don't right now. So once I've gone through all of these questions, the next thing I'll do is open the floor to anyone that you can again drop in the Q&A, any custom elements that you'd really like to see us offer. We have the 5 right now, but as I've already said, you know, the sky is the limit. There's so many things that we can do and so many different types of custom element we can add into the guidebooks for you. So if you have ideas for maybe a different form provider, or maybe, as in this example, a different playlist provider, let us know. Drop it in the Q&A here, and your suggestions will be taken back to our product team, and we'll start building those into our enhancement roadmap for where we go with custom elements. So please do, we will listen to these and send them directly to our product team, because we want to make the products as best as we can for all of you. Lovely. Another question here. So the example given for the Dropform upsell, was that created with a free or paid Dropform account? It's with a free account. So, which is another great reason why Dropform is so fantastic. I'm sure there are limits around some of the functionality that you can use, but all of the examples that we've had customers use so far and that we've done ourselves in testing is that we haven't hit a moment where we've had to pay. It's all with a free account, which is lovely. If anyone does get into a situation where they're having to pay for something, or they're not quite sure how it works, do feel free to send us an email and reach out to us on support. We're always happy to give you a hand if you get stuck. But as far as we know so far, I'm sure there will be some exceptions, but it can be done. And the example that I showed was, yes, indeed, done with a free account. Lovely. A question about Spotify. Do guests need to have a Spotify subscription to access playlists? No. As long as it's a public playlist, the guest can access it. If it is a private playlist that's not available to them, or that you have private in your own Spotify account, you have to make it public in order for a guest to be able to see it. Lovely. A question saying, can you talk more about to actually embed the Dropform? You create it first in Dropform? Yes. So with any of the custom elements, and we'll use Dropform as this is the example, you have to set that up in Dropform first. So you would create your Dropform account, choose the template that you want to use, or create your own template. You can do whichever you wish. The only information that you have to give to TouchStay is that embed link, which is with Dropform, it's their quick share link. If you're not quite sure which link or little bit of code or embed you have to give to us to be able to drop that successfully into the guidebook, if you go into our knowledge base, there's a section all about custom elements, and there's a video for each one that shows you how to do this. And there's written instructions as well if you're not keen on videos. So yes, with every custom element, you always have to create it first with the provider that you're using, and then you drop that into your guidebook. Right, going through some questions. Lovely. There's lots of requests for different elements, so that's great. Lovely, lovely. So are drop forms and Zoho the only ways we can add a shop element into the guide? These are the ones that we know of so far. I'm sure there are other providers, but these are the ones that we have that are elements that so far. If there are other forms or different types of products that you're using to offer upsells that you think you might want to drop in here, let us know in the Q&A box, and we can take that back to the product team. But so far, the ones that we've been testing and we know that customers are using is drop forms and Zoho forms. Super. There's lots of requests for custom elements. That's lovely. Someone is asking how you get a drop form account initially. It's super easy. Just Google drop form, go in and set up an account. It's a really simple process, and I've done it a few times now. It just takes you 5 minutes. So it's quite a nice, simple thing. Yeah, same with Matterport. It's really, really simple. You set up an account, and it gives you instructions for how to build your 3D tool. So all of the custom elements that we have, the 5, it's really easy to just set up your accounts and get started. We didn't want anything to be too complicated to stop anyone using it, so it's nice and straightforward. Lovely. What else? Another question, can you integrate the drop form booking extras or guest check-in info back to the PMS like SuperControl? Right now, no, we can't. The custom elements just stay directly in TouchStay. There may be some workarounds for certain things, but not specifically with the custom elements. This question came from Shirley. So if there's something specific that you're trying to do, Shirley, send us an email, support@touchstay.com, and there might be a way for us to help you with that, with the integration we have with SuperControl. It just wouldn't be directly with custom elements right now. But feel free to email us and let us know what you'd like to do, and we might be able to figure it out with you. Lovely. And there was, there's another one on SuperControl, which I just answered, which is great. And lovely. And then a question, is there a TouchStay app available? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Maybe, do you mean the app for the guest? By which case, yes, absolutely available. Although it's not exactly an app, but it looks and behaves like an app. It's a progressive web app. But do you mean for using yourself as a TouchStay customer to build your guides and your content? If that's the case, then no, we don't have an app right now. But the account that you would use on your desktop can be accessed and used from your phone. It's just not in an app format just right now. Lovely. For the host, yeah, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, it's not something we have right now. But you can still use TouchStay on your mobile. That's all we have for the time being. Lovely. Any other questions from anyone? We have a little bit of time left, so more than happy to answer some more questions if they come through. But if not, I do speak very fast, so I probably breeze through that quite quickly. Thank you, Jessie, for saying here that the web app is way better. Yes, absolutely. For the guest, certainly. Having a web app is a much better experience for the guest and means that they don't have to download anything, because we don't want to put up any barriers or any friction to getting the guidebook into your guest's hands. Okay, lovely. We have one more question. Does the Matterport tool have to be linked to Matterport's hosting server directly, or are there other free 3D tool hosting sites supported also? So I'll break that down into 2 parts. We don't have any other 3D tool hosting sites available as a custom element right now, but if you have one in mind, drop that in the Q&A box here. And as I said, we'll pass that on to the product team. I set this up and did a test myself with Matterport with a free account and was able to put that 3D tool into my TouchStay guidebook without having to pay for an account. So there is a free version of Matterport available. I believe there are some features and functionality that aren't available with a free account, which is pretty standard with a lot of these types of products. But you can certainly give it a go and get a very good solution with a free account. Another question, can the drop form be used for guests to make direct payments to suppliers for concierge items? Anonymous attendee, would you mind giving me an example? Just so I can make sure I answer correctly. But generally speaking, yes. For example, if you're using a drop form and someone is purchasing, let's say, a charcuterie board, and so you have a service with someone else, you've set up the drop form to capture payment. That's where the process kind of stops. Once you've received the payment, any booking information that then has to go to that provider, say the provider of the charcuterie boards, you would then have to speak with them. It doesn't automate that booking into that provider. I hope that answers that question. Cool. And then another question from Michelle. Will you be looking at AI tools at all, in particular a chatbot? AI is super important in the industry right now, and in every industry, it's everywhere, and there's a lot of innovation happening. We've been talking about this a lot and figuring out what an AI solution might look like at Touch Day and how we may or may not incorporate that into the product. So I won't share too much now. We'll go into too much detail because there's lots that we could do, and we've certainly been talking in our business, how do we bring the power of AI to our customers? So it may be something that we do in the future, but not quite right now. Lovely. All righty. Anyone have any other questions? If not, I'll give you all a little bit of time back in your day. Thank you all so much for being so engaged and asking so many questions. It's just absolutely lovely to see. As I said, if you want to request a new custom element, now is your time. Put it in that Q&A box, and we'll make sure that all of these requests go back to the product team. And thank you for joining. It's always such a pleasure to have our customers joining us for some great conversations. There's a QR code here that links through to our Touch Day Rockstars community group on Facebook. We have more than 2,000 of our customers now in this community, helping each other, speaking with each other, answering questions, giving advice and ideas. So if you'd like to be part of the community, you can scan this QR code now and it will take you through there. I'll see one last time if we have any more questions. No, I think that's it for now. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll be doing one of these types of product-focused webinars every month. So stay tuned for that. Oh, we have a hand raised. Oh, Teresa, if you have a question, ask your question away. If you maybe Teresa was trying to say goodbye rather than raising a hand. No problem. Lovely. So yes, hopefully you'll join us for the next one that will be coming up in February, and we'll announce that very soon. Otherwise, we'll catch you either through support or in our Facebook group or through email. We love staying in touch with you all. So always feel free to pop us a note and say hi and ask your questions. Thank you so much and have a great rest of day, whatever time it is with you. Thank you.